Yes.
Hmm. I've been having all kinds of problems with my phone.
Yes.
Hmm. And just thinking about the monastic life is a house where men, a monastery who have taken religious vows live.
Yes.
Now, this is a men only house.
Right.
There usually are monks,
Hmm.
but priests and brothers also live in monastery. Now, a convent is a house where women who have taken religious vows live. These women are called nuns.
Yes.
Now, monasticism is a way of life devoted to religion whose practiced long before Christian times. A group of Jews, the Essenes, lived in a community life and shared their property. By the time of Christ, the Essenes had disappeared. Then Christian monasticism began in Egypt in the 3rd century AD.
Hmm.
Groups of men called hermits left society to live alone and pray. In the 4th century, Saint Pachomius
Yes.
started the first Christian monastery at Tabenizzi, Egypt. The men still lived apart, however, they were together for meals and prayers. Later, Saint Basil started monasteries in the Eastern Church. And in AD 340, Saint Athanasius
Hmm.
brought the practice to Rome. And then in AD 500, Saint Benedict started the first permanent group, the Benedictines. From then on, the idea spread.
Yes.
Now, these monks
Yeah.
that ended up being saints,
Yes.
mhm, I thought a lot of those that were brothers in a, well, it looks like it's a gender specific religious idea
Yes.
that you could discriminate. For every nun that wanted to be a monk and for all the monks that wanted to be nuns,
Yes.
there are certain ecclesiastical rules of how we do this.
Yeah.
Now, I've often mentioned the Pope and my dislike of what Catholicism's doing.
Yes.
hmm Well, I'm being persecuted because of the refusal to enforce my rights as an American citizen. And I did want to have that big global party for those that want to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus.
Yes.
Now, I was reading some of this Latin, and it could be that these monks
Yeah.
were they reading Latin, Greek, or Hebrew?
Oh.
See, no man is bound to accuse himself except before God.
Yes.
It is a maxim of our law
Hmm.
that no man can be forced to become his own accuser.
Yes. Yes.
Now, let's say you accused me of domestic violence and child abuse,
Yes.
but I didn't accuse me.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of the perpetrators of those crimes, they would say, well, I didn't commit any domestic violence or child abuse.
Mm.
And then you'd have the vanity of the court right now. hmm I actually didn't commit any domestic violence or child abuse. But we have these religious orders where I wanted to have all the convents and all the monasteries for myself. I thought I'd fix them up and turn them into bed and breakfasts. you know, uh, this idea of the accusing myself,
Yes.
my vanity of bolstering my own perceptions,
Yes.
the thought of you issuing a protection order where the petitioner didn't sign it,
Yes.
the two attempts at serving me
Yes.
where you said you couldn't find me. Oh, the idea that you issued it
Right.
and that you used a forgery of the ex officio Superior Court clerk,
Right.
and then you served me in the Squim Public Library a weapon surrender request by an individual that wasn't a sheriff.
Yes.
And then the thought that you served somebody other than myself.
Yeah.
Now, I do feel confident that you committed a very large fraud.
Yes.
And when I told you to remove it, you refused.
Hmm.
Now, I did look at the necessary requirements to be sainted.
Yes.
Spent years studying it.
Yes.
And the whole thought of going to a monastery did attract itself to me when I was in Denmark.
Yes.
And I thought, well, why don't I just go to Poland,
Yes.
knock on the door of a Polish monastery, and introduce myself as wanting to stay there? But for some reason, life didn't work out the way I planned. Yes. I eventually moved back here. Yeah. Got a job. Yes. Got married. Oh, had 5 kids. Yes, he does. Now, let's say I wanted to know the Hospitallers. Yes. The Templars. The Knights of Columbus. Ooch. The Teutonic Knights. Why don't you get me all the holy orders and their purpose was to protect and care for pilgrims? Because there's this liability of denying exactly what you know right now. See, this Catholic denomination that's been canonizing saints? Yes. hmm The individuals that did do something for Christianity, that decided that they were going to have military religious orders where we were going to go this way. I thought there was some Illuminatist Catholics that were putting lizards in their rectums. Ouch! You know, I don't see anywhere in the Bible where you would want to be an Illuminatist. Yes. The Illuminati. The left hand. Yes. Of Catholicism. The individuals that put a royal family lizard in the rectum. I don't see that in the Bible. Now, considering my want there, Sheriff, yes, the Benedictine monastery of Cluny in France was founded in the 10th century. I think all of Christianity is going to want to visit these places. They seem to be significant to the actual Christianity. Yes. Now, Cluny became the central government of more than 300 groups with direct control over all the monks. Some reforms set up Cluny were clerical celibacy. Yes. The monks were forbidden to marry and stopping simony. Yes. The selling of church offices. Then the mendicant begging orders arose. Yeah. Now, as much as I told you I wanted some money right now, I don't like selling cigarettes, and I have $1.05. I have enough money to buy a cup of coffee. Yes. And I haven't been able to shower for 8 days. Yes. And you seem to think right now that this whole idea of me supporting as a charity, a celebration of Christianity because of the 2,000 years since the resurrection of Jesus, was some sort of joke. Now, I do feel a certain amount of burden to make sure I have enough money to do what I say. Yes. And when I start making these lenses and mirrors at 15,000 degrees because I will, yes, I have available, yes, trillions of gallons of fresh water at those degrees. Now, Sheriff, yes, I dislike your Illuminatist Catholics, yes, and I want all of them removed from Catholicism. Now, the Pope is not myself. Yes. He would extend some forgiveness to them. Yes. I would put them in prison. Yes. I'm big on putting in prison Illuminati. See, I got lots of prisons. Ouch. I'll put a prison on the ocean. Ouch. I'll put a prison in the desert. I can make so much.